Hi dear students, today inshallah we need to finish our chapter, the first chapter, which is the supportive and skeletal system in our curriculum. Let's start and learn more about the movement in both plant and human. Today we're going to start with the movement in human. The last episode we studied what? The movement in plant. Today we're going to study the movement in how does it work and the mechanism of movement inside our muscles. Well, let's start. Well, movement in man depends on three systems. Depends on what? Three systems. The first one is skeletal system. For what? As we said, support and gives it the support and supportive function, movement of limb, because the muscles are attached to it. And also the muscular system. Muscular system for what? Contraction and relaxation of the muscles. And also we need something to give it the orders, which is what? Nervous system. So we have skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system. Nervous system which gives order to the muscles to contract and relax. The muscular system, the unit of it called the muscle cell is what? The muscle cell. We have number of muscles inside our body, about 620 muscles or maybe more. And we need to know the function of the muscles, and after that we go in directly to study the mechanism and different mechanism of movement of muscles. We have a different functions for the muscles. Like what? All muscles have ability for contract and to relax, to carry a different functions, okay? Such as what? Number one, movement that includes change in the position of certain organ in relation to other part of the body. Okay, actually those function, they are repeated, okay, but we need to make them more related to the muscles, okay, not the skeletal system. So the first type is what? It is a type which is total movement that includes change in the position of certain organs. So it is what? A positional relation to other part of the body. When you move just part, your hand, your leg, okay, just part of your body. And what else? The transportation from one place to another, it's mean free or total movement, okay? When you are the whole living organism moves from one place to another. When you move your body totally from one place to another, this is called transportation, okay, or free or total movement. What else? We have also the continuous movement as we said it, like the cytoplasmic streaming, and also the continuous movement of blood inside your blood vessels, okay, arteries and veins. To what? To maintain the blood pressure, to cause the blood pressure. And this happened by what? Okay, actually this happened by two ways. Number one, contraction of the muscle, okay, to create pressure, contraction of some muscles in the arteries to pump the blood to body organs, to different body organs. And also contraction of what? The skeletal muscles. For what? To help the internal system of valves in the veins to be open and close, okay, in successive and appropriate way. What else? To maintain the body posture. Posture means position of the body in sitting or standing by the muscles like neck, trunk, and lower limbs, just to move in different ways and in different directions. This is a function, one of the main function of the muscles, okay? And as we said, the muscle Structure is what consists of large number of units called muscle fiber. But we have a video here for the function of the muscle. Structure of the muscle. Each muscle consists of a large number of units called muscle fiber. Well, the structure of the muscle itself, or the muscle fiber, is what we right now to know the structure and the mechanism of contraction and relaxation. Each muscle fiber contains a living matter cytoplasm called, it has a unique name, sarcoplasm. And this sarcoplasm covered with the cell membrane. Again, we have a living matter called sarcoplasm. And this sarcoplasm covered by a membrane called sarcolemma. And each muscle fiber contains a large number of nuclei. These mean what? They are multinucleated. It has more than one nucleus. Okay? It doesn't contain also just only one nucleus, but they are what? Multinucleated. Large number of nuclei. Each muscle fiber contains about from 1,000 to 2,000 myofibrils, which are arranged longitudinally and parallel to the longitudinal axis of the muscle. Okay? Each myofibril consists of alternating dark and light bands that give the muscle its striation appearance or its striated form. And this is a question here for you. One, the light area called eye band consists of thin protein filament. Its name is what? Actin. Again, we have light and dark areas. Okay, the light area are called eye band, consists of thin protein filament called actin. What about the dark one? Well, actin filament actually is bisected. Okay, bisected by dark as a line called Z line. Again, we have a light bands are called eye bands. They are bisected by another filament called what? Z line. They are called Z lined. The dark area called A band. The dark area called what? A band. Consists of what? Thick protein filament, which is named by myosin. Okay? Well, the dark area is bisected by semi-dark or semi-light one area called H zone that consists of also myosin filament only. After that, we need to know the meaning of sarcomere. The distance between each two successive Z lines. This is the meaning of sarcomere. Okay, and the pattern of striation or to be striated muscle is found in the skeletal muscles and cardiac muscles only. Again, the form or striation of that appears in the skeletal muscles. I mean the muscle that attach to your skeletal system or the muscle that form your heart. They are called striated muscle. While the other muscles inside your body, they are called the smooth muscles inside all muscles of the alimentary canal. They are what? Smooth. They do not have any kind of striation. Okay, so they are called striated muscles here. And I need you to know that the striation not found in smooth muscles. Easy? So they are called what? Unstriated muscle. And actually it is a position for a question, give reason here. Okay, the striation muscle appears in only the skeletal and the cardiac muscle, not in the smooth muscles. And this is a form of the units that form the striated muscles. Okay, this is a form of striation, and the difference between Z and H zone and I bands, A bands, and so on. Okay, so this is the shape of the skeletal muscle under microscope. Well, what are the muscle bundle? They are group of muscle fiber surrounded by membrane called perimysium. Called what? Perimysium. How many types of muscles that we have? We have different types of muscles, okay? But in our curriculum, we're going to divide them according to the ability of yourself, if you can control the muscle or you cannot control the muscle. Well, voluntary muscle, you can control its movement, okay? Like what? Like most muscles that attach it in your skeletal system. Okay, muscle attached in the upper limbus, lower limb, muscle of your back, muscle of your face, you can control in it. Okay, the abdominal muscles are also. So voluntary under the control of your body. Okay, like what? Muscle attached to the skeleton, skeletal muscles. While involuntary muscles, involuntary, you cannot control its movement. It's something out of your hands. Okay, like what? Like your heart, you cannot control the movement of your heart, or you cannot control the movement of your small and large intestine. Get the difference between voluntary and involuntary? So voluntary, you can control its movement, okay, like skeletal muscles. Involuntary muscles, okay, the away of your control, not under the human will, as cardiac and smooth muscles. Smooth muscles, all muscles inside your alimentary canal, or muscles inside the body, such as what? Walls of alimentary canal, blood vessels, you cannot control the movement, are called smooth muscles, except the heart, which is cardiac muscle and straight muscle, and also you cannot control its movement. Okay, okay. After that, we need to know the muscle contraction. How the muscle contracts inside your body. I'm talking about the mechanism of contraction inside your body. Okay, just focus here because we have dozens of information about this part. Well, the contraction of muscles, actually, it's coordinated by 3 different systems: muscular, skeletal, and nervous, as we said. Okay, I hope you that agree with me on this part. Well, the effects of nervous tissue on the physiological of muscles and response to nervous stimulation, it has 5 or 6 steps. Okay, we're going to illustrate them in details. Well, number 1, in the skeletal muscles. Again, we are talking about that. What we need to know how your muscle is contract or relax. The skeletal muscle, it has 2 surfaces, okay? The outer surface and the inner surface. The outer surface, okay, is charged by positively charged, while the inner membrane is positively charged. So we have what? Polarized membrane. Polarized, it means it has 2 different charges. Polarized means it has 2 different charges. Well, this potential difference, because of what? The ionic concentration between outside and inside membrane, between 2 different areas on the same membrane. Easy? Well, what happens also when the nerve impulses transfer through motor nerve coming from any part of the central nervous system, like brain or spinal cord, okay, reaching to the muscle fiber through the synapses or synaptic area. What happened at this moment? The synaptic buttons contains a physical, okay, physical, it means tiny protrusion, okay, filled with chemical substance called neurotransmitters. We have a different type, but in our curriculum we need to know the acetylcholine. We need to know what acetylcholine. This is our neurotransmitters. Again, the physical, at the end of the bottom of the synaptic areas contains neurotransmitter called acetylcholine. What happened to the acetylcholine? On the arrival, as soon as the nerve impulse reaches to the end of the motor nerve or synapse, the calcium ions diffuse through pump in the presynaptic membrane. Okay, that causes what? The rupture of the vesicle and releasing of the neurotransmitter, which is acetylcholine, to the area between two sides of the cleft fin to the surface of the muscle membrane. After that, neurotransmitter reaches the muscle membrane, leading to stimulation and increase the permeability of sodium ions to enter. That causes depolarization, and the inner membrane becomes positively charged and the outer membrane becomes negatively charged, and the muscle contracts. After part of second, the muscle relaxes because the cholinesterase enzyme, did you hear it? Cholinesterase enzyme destroys, okay, the acetylcholine into different substances, choline and acetate, to terminate its function and also to help the muscle membrane to be more polarized and to be ready to receive a new impulse. Let's show that by a video. Okay, we have different types of muscles inside our body. Okay, we have cardiac muscle, we cannot control its movement, involuntary, also smooth muscles that form the elementary canal of your body. Skeletal muscles. Well, let's talk about the skeletal muscles. As we said, it's muscle fiber or fiber bundles. It contains hundreds of fibers. Well, and we said when the neurotransmitter or the nerve impulse is reaching to the muscle fiber, what's happening inside it? We need to know the reason of contraction and relaxation. Well, as we said, the muscle fiber, each one of them, or myofibril, it contains, well, by the way, it's called sarcomere, okay, and it consists of two main protein filaments. Consists of what? Two main, one of them is thick and one of them is what? Thin, and the one of them called actin filament and the other is what? Excellent, is called myosin filament. Is it easy? Well, we have here the mechanism of sliding. Have the mechanism of what? Sliding. Well, where the Z lines approaches from each other, the muscle is contracts, and when they are get away from each other, the muscle is what? Relax. Easy. And this hook shape of myosin filament that carry the actin over it and more time, and that make a bond which is called cross bridges, but we don't need to know this name cross bridge. Just you need to know the idea of hooking or the sliding mechanism. And also we need to know the name of the scientist, which is Huxley theory. It's very important for you. Well, we have here something by hydrolyzing ATP, adenosine triphosphate, to give you ADP and extra hydrogen to carry what? To carry the other filament, to carry what? The other filament. So the energy needed for sliding mechanism, it comes from what? From hydrolyzing of ATP into ADP and hydrogen. Okay, and when they are relaxed again, another molecule of ATP it comes and broken down or hydrolyzed into ADP and so on. Okay, this is a mechanism of sliding, mechanism of how our body contracts and relaxes. Okay, and as we said also, the polarization or the polarized membrane by presence of calcium and sodium. Okay, this happens by or due to what? Due to the when the calcium ion and sodium ion, they exchange each other inside and outside the membrane on the surface of the myofibril or the muscle fiber. Okay, mechanism of muscle contraction, sliding filament theory or Huxley theory. Huxley is the name of the scientist. Okay, this sliding filament theory is very important also, and we need to learn more about it. But let's to close from it. We have an introduction about the Huxley information. He said, or most times said it's most acceptable theory. What did he do? He examined muscle fiber under electron microscope, and he compared between the muscle fiber during contraction and relaxation. Did you know what he did? He made a large comparison between contraction and relaxation of the muscle fiber, but under electron microscope. After that, Huxley concluded that the protein filament, okay, I'm talking about the actin and myosin, they slide over each other due to the presence of transverse links that extend from myosin filament and attach to the actin filaments. And what about the energy that we needed? The presence of calcium ion and energy, adenine triphosphate, that transverse links act as hooks, as you observe it and you watch it in the movie. They act as hooks that pull the actin filament from both thighs toward each other. That causes contraction of the muscle. Okay? Then the transverse links and actin filament return back to the original position. That causes what? Relaxation of the muscle. We have a note here that this theory doesn't explain the contraction of unstriated smooth muscles. Again, we say we have the voluntary muscles, you can control its movement. Involuntary muscles, you cannot control its movement. Okay? Unstriated muscles, they are what? They are smooth muscles. They move out of your will. Okay? You cannot control, like what? Like the muscles inside your small and large intestine, most of the alimentary canal. Okay? The presence of protein filaments similar to actin of skeletal muscles. There is no striation in the smooth muscles. The last piece of information in our lesson, it talks about the motor unit. What does it mean, motor unit? Motor unit, it's mean the functional unit of the muscle activity. It's mean what? The functional units of muscle activity. One, simply the muscle contraction and relaxation is what? Summation of all motor units formating the muscles. Okay? Again, the muscle contraction is the what? The summation, the different summations in your body of motor units forming what? Formating what? The muscle. The structure of the motor unit here is a group of muscle fiber and motor nerve fiber that supply them by what? Motor fiber enters the muscle and divides into large number of branches, a lot of branches. Okay, and each branch or branches supply a group of muscle fiber from 5 to 100. Each terminal branch attaches one muscle fiber at a place called motor end plate, and the point of connection is called neuromuscular junction. Again, each terminal branch attaches what? One muscle fiber at a place called motor end plate. What about the other side, the other end? Connection is called neuromuscular junction. And this is the shape or form of the motor unit. Okay, different branches, and each one of them is connected by 2 points. Finally, we have something called muscle fatigue. What does it mean, muscle fatigue? Muscle fatigue is due to what? Repeated rapid contraction of muscles. When you going to do an extra effort or an extra exercise, okay, you feel something happen in your muscle that you cannot contract or relax it, or it takes a very pain and overload in your muscle. This is called muscle fatigue, and we need to know why does it happen, the muscle fatigue or the acute pain of muscle. Actually, the repetition of muscle contraction that causes what the muscle cannot get appropriate or sufficient amount of oxygen. So the muscle receive insufficient amount of oxygen. So the blood cannot supply them rapidly with the oxygen. So they respire anaerobically. Remember that. They respire what? Anaerobically. Okay? We have a difference between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration in presence of oxygen. Anaerobic in absence of oxygen. Okay? So there is no oxygen right now. They respire what? Anaerobically. And form lactic acid. Form what? Lactic acid. Well, the accumulation of the lactic acid causes what? That causes fatigue here. Causes what? Fatigue. So, just a summary for you. The lack of oxygen or glycogen, which is stored in the muscle, it gonna be broken down into glucose. That gives us pyruvic acid, and pyruvic acid at the end of the anaerobic respiration gives us what? Lactic acid. When the oxygen is available, okay, at any time, the muscle respire aerobically. Got the difference between them? Well, we have a two great difference. Anaerobically, there is no oxygen anaerobically, while in case of presence of oxygen, the muscle respires what? Aerobically, to produce large amounts of energy and get rid of what? That's something that we do need it, which is what? Lactic acid. Get the difference? Thank you. Well, this is the shape of striation, and it shows for us also the difference between actin filament and myosin filament, and how the molecules of ATP hydrolyzes, okay, to gives us the ADP and extra substance. This is what in case of muscle contraction and in case of muscle relaxation. The upper picture shows us the relaxation, where the Z lines are away from each other. On the other hand, the lower picture contraction, Z lines what? Are close from each other. Well, this is to show us how the nerve impulses or motor neuron, which is reaching to what? Reaching to any muscle fiber, and that causes what? Causes depolarization for the membrane. As we said, we have the membrane on the one side of the outer side positively charged, and the inner side is what? Yes, is negatively charged. And don't forget that we have something called neurotransmitters, which is acetylcholine. And in presence of calcium ion, the physical rupture and acetylcholine released. Okay, and those are the different steps. When the acetylcholine is released, that causes what? Yep, I need you to remember that the physical contains neurotransmitters, and these neurotransmitters in our curriculum are called what? Excellent, acetylcholine. The picture or the video here shows for you the moving of the calcium ion or diffusion of the calcium ion and rupture of acetylcholine or neurotransmitters that will depolarize the surface of the muscle, okay, and that causes the permeability, increase the permeability of the sodium to gets inside and depolarize the membrane. Okay, and instead of the outer membrane is positive, it will be negative. Okay, the red molecules here, they are what? They are the sodium ions. Okay, and finally, what happened when depolarization happened? The muscle is what? The muscle contracts. The muscle what? Contract, and rapidly the cholinesterase enzyme, it rapidly doing what? It just destroy the acetylcholine into choline and acetate to make the muscle be ready for another contraction. I hope you get difference between the mechanism of transferring the neurotransmitters or the nerve impulses to the muscle, contraction, relaxation, and the difference between the Huxley theory is very important for you, Huxley theory, okay? And you watch that. What's happening here? The acetic acid and choline, that the result of, yes, destroying of something, we said it right now, yes, acetylcholine, under effect of cholinesterase enzyme. At the end of this episode, I hope you got a great difference between movement between plant and human body, and different movement, positional and continuous movement, and so on. Thank you for listening. See you the next time.